Hildegard of Bingen saw the Antichrist as a newborn with teeth, born to a mother in the east, with brothers who were demons walking the earth in human form. She saw entire cities turned into mounds of ruin. She saw the German Empire torn in two. She wrote everything down in a medieval book called Scivias. And the warning she left for our age, the age she called the time of the gray wolf, is unfolding right now in 2026. In 2012, on October 7th, Pope Benedict XVI walked into St. Peter's Basilica and declared a 12th century German nun a doctor of the Universal Church. She was only the fourth woman in the 2,000-year history of Catholicism to receive that title. Her name was Hildegard von Bingen. The Vatican classified her writings as worthy of belief. 3 popes during her lifetime read her visions and called them divinely inspired. What you are about to hear are the 5 darkest prophecies recorded in her writings: the rejection of the Pope, the persecution of the clergy, the wars without precedent, the German Empire divided, and the warning about the era of the gray wolf. The age many traditional Catholics believe began around 2020 and is accelerating towards something nobody is ready to see. Bingen sits on the Rhine River in western Germany. In the year 1098, a noble family in the nearby village of Bermersheim welcomed their 10th child. They named her Hildegard. By the age of 3, Hildegard was already seeing visions of light no one else could perceive. At the age of 8, in keeping with medieval Benedictine custom, her parents offered her to the church as a tithe. She entered the monastery of Disibodenberg as a child oblate. For the next 34 years, Hildegard kept her visions secret. She told only her teacher, the anchoress Jutta of Sponheim, and later her confessor, the monk Volmar. In 1141, at the age of 42, Hildegard heard a voice from heaven. The voice commanded her to write down everything she had ever seen. Hildegard obeyed. The result was Scivias, a Latin title meaning "Know the Ways of the Lord." The book contained 26 visions and took her 10 full years to complete. While she wrote, Hildegard also composed 77 liturgical songs, wrote medical treatises still printed in German pharmacies, and corresponded with the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick Barbarossa. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, the most influential theologian of the 12th century, read excerpts of Scivias and praised the work openly. Pope Eugenius III, presiding at the Synod of Trier between 1147 and 1148, ordered passages of the book read aloud to the assembled bishops of Europe. The Pope declared Scivias divinely inspired. Hildegard became a religious advisor to half of Europe. Kings, emperors, bishops, and abbots wrote to her for guidance. Her surviving letters fill 3 volumes in the Vatican archives. The prophecies recorded in her writings became famous across medieval Christendom. The first warned of a coming rejection of papal authority. Her writings declared that the time was coming when princes and peoples would reject the authority of the Pope. Individual countries would prefer their own church rulers to the Pope. The German Empire, she said, would be divided. Church property would be secularized. Priests would be persecuted. The second prophecy concerned the Antichrist. Hildegard wrote that as soon as the Antichrist is born, he will have teeth and pronounce blasphemies. He will work false miracles. He will wallow in luxury and vice. His mother, the prophecy said, will live among perverse men in a desert, deceived by a demon disguised as an angel of light. The illuminated miniature in the Rupertsberg manuscript of Scivias shows the Antichrist as a black monstrous head with fiery eyes, ass ears, and iron teeth, emerging from the womb of the church herself. The third prophecy described unprecedented warfare. Her writings recorded that ferocious and cruel wars would erupt in a manner mankind had never seen. A multitude of people would be sacrificed in these wars. Many cities. The fourth prophecy targeted the clergy. Toward the end of the world, Hildegard wrote, "Mankind will be purified through suffering. This will be especially true of the clergy, who will be robbed of all property." The fifth prophecy is the era of the gray wolf. Hildegard described a future age of crisis within the church, an age of corruption among priests, of weak leadership, and of confusion among the faithful. Traditional interpreters mark the beginning of this gray wolf era around the year 2020, the year the world locked down, the year the post-war order began to crack. 12 years ago, on October 7th, 2012, Pope Benedict XVI sat in his apartment in the Vatican and signed the apostolic letter, making Hildegard a doctor of the Church. He chose her specifically because her warnings about clerical corruption felt urgent for the 21st century. 14 years later, those warnings have not slowed. They have accelerated. The Catholic Church in Germany is fracturing. The German Synodal Path movement has openly defied Vatican teaching on the priesthood, on Holy Communion, and on the sacraments. The German Bishops' Conference is in open tension with Pope Leo XIV. Hildegard's words about the German Empire being divided are echoing in real time, in the same country, in the same diocese where she once wrote them. The wars she described are unfolding on 3 continents at once. Ukraine has entered its 4th year of war with Russia. Israel is fighting on multiple fronts in Gaza, in Lebanon, and against Iran. The cities of Mariupol, Aleppo, and Khan Yunis are mounds of ruin, matching her ancient description with terrifying precision. The persecution of the clergy is documented in court records. More than 3,000 Catholic parishes in Europe have been abandoned, sold, or demolished in the past decade. Church property is being seized for tax debts in Germany and Belgium. Priests in France and in northern Nigeria have been murdered at the altar. The robbery of church property that Hildegard described in the 12th century is happening in the 21st. The original illuminated Rupertsberg manuscript of Chivius was completed around the year 1175. For 700 years it survived in the abbey at Rupertsberg, then in libraries across the Rhineland, and finally in the State Library in Wiesbaden. In the final days of World War II, in 1945, the manuscript was sent to Dresden for safekeeping. Dresden was firebombed. The manuscript vanished. The most beautiful copy of Hildegard's visions was destroyed in the same European war her writings had foreshadowed. Her relics survived. They are preserved today in a gold reliquary at Eibingen Abbey, the daughter monastery she founded across the Rhine River from Bingen. Pilgrims visit her tomb every September 17th, her feast day in the Catholic calendar. The Benedictine sisters at Eibingen still chant the music Hildegard composed in the 12th century. Her medical treatises are still consulted by herbalists across Germany. In 2012, when Pope Benedict XVI declared her a doctor of the Church, he wrote that her teachings carry a message of supernatural truth for our times. The Vatican does not grant that title lightly. Only 37 saints in 2,000 years of Christianity have received it. 4 of them are women. Hildegard of Bingen is one of those 4. Pope Benedict XVI did not elevate Hildegard to honor a medieval relic. He elevated her because her warnings about church renewal felt prophetic to him in 2012. He believed her writings were a message addressed to the 21st century. 14 years have passed since that declaration. Every warning Hildegard recorded has moved closer to fulfillment. The Holy Roman Empire of her day is gone, but the German Catholic Church is fracturing in real time. The clergy persecution is documented in parish closures from Bavaria to Brittany. The wars without precedent are running on every continent. The rejection of papal authority is louder now than at any time since the Protestant Reformation. Hildegard ended her visions with a promise of consolation. She wrote that in the period after the tribulation, God would console his holy church for the affliction and great tribulation she had endured. All nations, Hildegard promised, will become Catholic. Vocations will be abundant as never before. The dark she described is real. The dawn she promised is also real. Pray today for Pope Leo XIV. Pray for the Catholic Church in Germany. Pray for every parish abandoned by its diocese, and every priest abandoned by his parish. If the warnings of Hildegard moved you, leave a comment with your parish name and your country so the faithful can pray together. Hit subscribe so the next warning reaches you before the world moves on. The next saint we unseal lived in the 20th century, walked the streets of a small Italian village, and left a warning about a specific person who is alive today. You will not believe who she named. Pray the Rosary tonight. Pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet at 3 in the afternoon. The era of the gray wolf is here. The consolation is still ahead.